Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host Caleb.
Hi, I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this man.
I almost forgot the name of our show.
Oh man, that'd be a bad thing to forget 93 episodes in, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say Escape Reality Films, which is our channel name,
Yeah.
but it's Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. Um, so normally we start with what we've been up to during the week outside of Star Wars before getting into news. But I first want to give the good news that the SAG after strike is over, as they currently have a tentative deal with the AMPTP, which means we can talk movies and television again. I figured I'd start with that great news and congratulate the actors and everyone who supported them for putting in the effort to get a better deal for all the work they do to give us entertainment.
Yeah.
Now, what have you been up to, Seth?
Ah.
Now that I free the reins, I mean, obviously you're probably still going to talk video games, but
Yeah.
now you can talk more than that.
Alright. So, continuing from my Saw-esque beginning
Oh yeah.
of the Parallel.
So last week we talked about you playing um the expansion DLC content for Outer Worlds,
Yes.
and this is a continuation of where you left off. And
Mhm.
at the beginning, I alluded to the premise being similar to a certain horror film franchise, and now I can say it's
Yeah.
Saw. You because you literally find a box with a body part in it and then a voice recording left over of essentially, do you want to play a game?
Yeah. And I'm like, sure, I guess.
Like, it's funny because I referenced 7 as well. Yeah, it's 7. I think is the one. Yeah, 7's the one with what's in the box. Because I said what's in the box,
Yep.
and then you're like, oh, actually this, and I was like, well, wrong horror film, but still the right genre.
Yep.
Um,
So, I go...
Also wrong body parts probably because
Mhm.
in 7 it's the girl.
It's-
Spoilers for a very old movie.
Yeah.
It's the girlfriend's head.
And so, I got into the chem lab. Because they use ocular scanning.
Hmm.
I'm like, all right, cool, I guess. Uh, so I continue. Like, I go and I get in there, and they're like, of course, spooky, mysterious figure on like the computer screen is like, you need to leave Gorgon, or I'll fucking kill you. And I'm like, no, give me the goddamn journal.
Oh yeah, because this whole thing is you trying to track down a journal.
Yeah, because some rich lady paid me to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can I get the fucking journal, please? And it's like, no. As a matter of fact, I've locked down this entire facility. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll leave. Because there are other, like, sections and areas you need to go to get access to the one fucking thing that has the goddamn journal.
Yeah.
So I go and I leave, and I'm like, well, now what? And I go back and I'm like, alright, so there's a guy, I can go and talk to him. And he's like an accountant, right?
Is he an accountant or an accountant?
I think they call him like an actuary, but in function, he's about as
Okay, so he's an
as
actual
accountant.
Sorry, I was making an internet joke because people will say that I'm an accountant when they mean they do like OnlyFans.
Oh.
Is he an accountant or an accountant? He's an accountant. Okay.
He counts money, that is his job.
Yeah.
So I go and I'm like, hey man, you used to work on this like really shady project that like caused a bunch of bad and evil shit to happen. How do I get back in there? And he's like, fucking don't, man. And I'm like, I don't care. Tell me how to do it. And he's like, well, he's at like a dog winning competition, right?
Yeah.
Like a dog show, and he was like, tell you what, I'll let you know where these two people are, because you're gonna need their stuff to get in as well. I'm like, fine. I'll go steal this goddamn dog trophy for you. But after that, I want some answers. So I go, I steal the trophy, I come back, after like convincing the main lady, hey, I just need to go back there and I'll fix a thing for you. Which I don't do because I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
But also, I'm dealing with bigger problems than whoever is winning this fucking competition.
Yeah. There's bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. And I go and I'm like, alright, tell me what you know, goddammit. What is it?
Just keep going.
It's the tell me what you know.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, so here's the deal. The entire project was fucked from the beginning because we didn't get the money we needed, we didn't get the time we wanted, and we weren't able to do the research with the amount of people we needed. And I'm like, oh, well, that's grand. That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's great.
And I'm like going through just so I go to the next person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like basically hiding out on the groundbreaker in like the back area of the ship where nobody really goes. And I'm like, hey man, look, can you let me back there to go and see her and talk to her? And her guard is like, no. And I'm like, man, it's gonna be real bad if the head of the ship knows that you threatened her current girlfriend, so maybe you should let me back there.
Yeah.
Because I have Parvati in my party, and she's like dating the head of Groundbreaker.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, shit, you go right ahead, man. I'm like, all right, scientist lady. Now you're gonna tell me what I want to know. And she's like, are you sure, man? And I'm like, yes. Why does everyone keep asking me this?
It's like, are you sure?
Yeah, I fucking do. So start talking. Like, for those who don't know, the way that I tend to like specialize in games like this are speech and guns. So you can either talk to me or I can shoot you and just do it anyway. Which I prefer not to do if I can talk to you first.
Yeah.
And so I go and I talk with her, right? And she's like, basically her like research thing was like the ethics center. And they're like, basically, she's like, all right, I'll let you in. Here's the stuff you'll need. You're gonna need to go and use my terminal to open it. And I'm like, thank you. Thanks, I'll go to that place later. Thank you. I'm glad I didn't have to kill anyone to get this done.
Yeah.
So I go to the next guy, and the next guy is like their R&D development guy. So I go and I ask him, hey, will you give me this information? He is like, sure, man, as soon as you fix my fucking radio tower and I get high as a kite.
Oh, man.
I'm like, fine. God damn it. Fine, I'll fix your fucking radio tower with your haywire electronics, because I guess you or someone decided research isn't happening fast enough here and was like, here's the pink slip protocol where we kill everyone in this facility. I'm like, great, I'm sure this will have no negative consequences. So I go, I get that done, I get like the one reception lady out of there alive because she hasn't done anything. I'm like, oh, I don't want you to die. I'll be a bit rude about it, but I don't want you dead.
Yeah.
So I go then and handle that. I come back to him and I'm like, all right, here's the deal, man. Tell me what I want to know. He's like, yeah, here you go. I'm gonna get high as a kite now. I'm like, okay, can you give me more information than that? And he's like, not without being drugged out of my mind. I'm like, go ahead. I don't care. It's not my problem. And he goes and he explains, like, by the way, we did a lot of, like, evil science shit going, and he's, like, just getting consistently higher. And I'm like, alright, man, you need to stop now, because if you go any higher, you're not gonna be around any.
Or you won't be able to float back
you'll
down.
You'll go to heaven. You'll be as high as you can get there.
Yeah.
And so I go into, like, I also have, like, a side quest to go and collect these radios with, like, Olivia Ambrose, the mother of, like, the rich lady I'm working for.
Yeah.
And, like, there's like 5, right? And one of them is, like, a main interview thing where she's like, oh yeah, we get them from, like, the hell prison world, these volunteers. And I'm like, you bitch. Like, we've never gone over this, but I'm not exactly a fan of that.
Yeah, I think most people aren't.
Yeah. And so I go over and I collect the radios for this old guy who's like been stuck on this planet. He's like, I can't leave unless I get all the radios. I'm like, by the way, did you know like your partner was a corporate spy and the only reason you're alive is because you didn't have these fucking things?
Oh,
And
boy.
he's like, oh man. I'm like, yeah. Shame you never talked to her about it. And he's like, oh, sorry, processing the fact that my girlfriend was a corporate spy. And I'm like, don't worry about it. It happens. It sucks.
It happens.
I'm like, don't worry, man. You're alive. She's dead. Don't worry about it. Which is a fucked up thing to tell someone. But like, the only reason you're alive is because people kept sending you back here and not killing you. And I go to the fucking research lab, right? And I have like switched up who I've brought with me at every point, and they're always like, fuck this place, man. This is unethical as shit. They still have dead bodies on the table, man, in all their documents and shit being like, hey, maybe like a lot of them are like, maybe we should stop doing this. And like from the corporate one, it's like, no, keep doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Stop that. And it's like going through over and over again, and it's like, we should really stop. And they're like, doesn't matter, keep going.
It sounds like most of this expansion, it's you doing the Michael Jordan, stop that.
Yeah. And I'm like, just leave it alone. And they're like, no. And I can't stop them because all of this has already happened. Adrenatime, a Spacer's Choice drug, it was like, well, in order for Halcyon to keep working, we need shit to happen. So Adrenatime is like coffee mixed with adrenaline. And I'll tell you what, doing that shit over a long period of time is bad for you, because it won't let you sleep and violent hallucinations happen. I'm like, god damn. Fucking stop it! So I go to the ethics office and they're like, hey, we should really stop doing this. And then, once again, corporate and Olivia is like, keep going. Ignore all of this shit. Don't send it out. And I'm like, wow. Fuck Spacious Choice.
I mean, you should have already had that opinion.
Yeah, I did, but I was like, yeah, I'm sure releasing the drug addicts was a good idea. Not even making this fucking shit.
Yeah, like, in the base game, it's literally learning why Spacer's Choice are the bad guys.
Yeah. I'm like, why did you do this, man? And I go, and I'm like, alright, I've got everything fucking unlocked now, and I can go into, like, the main office, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go into the main office, and I unlock it, and there's a robot there, and I'm like, I'm gonna go and get this robot to help me, because I know there's probably gonna be a lot of people in here. So I go, I get the robot to help me, I put a new battery in, I'm like, go fight people for me. And that happens. And while they're upstairs, I decide to loot around the, like, base floor, right?
Yep.
And I forgot that I had already sent her up top to go fight people for me. So when I come back, I'm like, I don't know where the robot lady went. And so I go and I walk around upstairs, and there's just a bunch of ash piles, and I'm like, what did this? And I go, and I'm like looking through them, I'm like, because in that game, whenever you defeat an enemy with laser weapons, like most games, they just turn into a bunch of ash, right?
Yeah.
I'm confused about it, because I don't have any, like, energy weapons equipped. And I go, and I walked past Pam's corpse. Pam is the name of the robot.
Yeah.
I turn and I look at it, and I look at the ash piles around the room, and I go, oh wait, I did this.
I inadvertently did this.
I'm like, I mean, if I had come up here, they would have tried to kill me, so they'd be dead anyway.
This just saves you time.
Yeah. So I go and I get up into the office and I'm like, oh, neat, unique weapon, and also that fucking journal I've been all over the galaxy for. And I'm like, and Mysterious Figure is like, put that shit down. I'm like, no.
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
I'm like, no, I will not. And I've beat the DLC twice now, and I'm gonna talk about how different the tones feel between those two, if I have the time.
Yeah, we might be.
Okay, then I'll just focus on the first one, because that's the best one.
Yeah.
So I get the journal, and I go, and I'm like, alright, I'm gonna go give this to Minnie Ambrose. And I go, and I get on my ship, and I start driving there. And the serious, go kill this one. I'll pay you to kill my daughter. I'll pay you to kill my mom. I'm like, can we fucking talk about this for a sec?
Can we just sit down?
And so I'm like, alright, fine. So I go and I do a bunch of shit, and I kill so many robots and marauders. And I'm like, I don't know if you know this, but stop pissing me off.
Yeah.
So I'm like, alright, look, here's the deal. Your mom probably still loves you, and I know you're working for Spacer's Choice. Stop doing that. Because they're, like, straight up evil.
Yeah. They make some cyberpunk villains look.
They make cyberpunk villains look good, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, alright, look, calm down. We'll talk it out. I'll see what I can do as, like, a middleman in negotiation. So I go.
They make Wayland Yutani look good.
Yeah, it's hard. Oof. Damn.
Although they're not quite doing that much of experimentation yet.
Yeah. And so I talk with her, and I'm like, all right, here's the deal.
Was it the Wayland Yutani?
Is the Wayland Yutani. I'm like, they're almost as evil, but not by much.
Yeah.
And so I go, and I'm like, all right, here's the deal. And she's like, tell mom that she's invited over for tea. I'm like, okay, I guess. If that's relevant information, I don't know. Did you fucking install spyware? Are you trying to, like, cause me to be a sleeper agent or some shit? That's a real